Hey, Rachel,
Yes,
do you
Pauline.
know do you know what is actually causing people to the main reason why people are getting divorced?
I'm guessing maybe people are getting fed up with each other.
Not really. Do you know the major cause of it is mainly because of money? It's crazy or what?
Really? Money. Wow. Why?
Yeah.
Why is it due to money?
You're interested to find out, right? Stay tuned, man.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Smart Women Finance. And we are the go-to girls of this podcast. Myself, Rockin Rachel, together with my partner here, Pauline Teoh. We are both from the financial industry. I'm into insurance advising, and my friend Pauline Teoh here, she's a licensed financial planner. And we are dedicated to actually helping all you women, whether you're married, single, focused on work, building a career, or even those of you who are planning for retirement. We are here to actually discuss with you daily financial issues and helping you manage it in a more smarter way. So, to empower you through financial awareness.
We would like to inform you that whatever discussed in this topic and in this podcast is completely general advice or based on our own personal experience and opinions. If you are facing any financial issues, we do recommend that you seek consultation with a licensed financial planner. Thank you.
So, today in our episode, we are actually discussing No Money, No Honey. So, that sounds like a very cheesy title, right, Pauline?
It is, but you know what? That's actually the reality of life, right?
Yeah. How many of us actually take a look at how our partner is, doing financially before making that decision to enter into a marriage with them? It's quite
Yeah.
an important pillar, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people don't have proper conversations. And that's why today we're going to actually talk a little bit more about how no money, no honey, and how to make your relationships work. If you girls are ready, we are about to start.
So, Pauline, tell me, just like you mentioned to me that 50% of divorce rates are actually due to money. And this is crazy because I think
Shocking.
the pandemic, a lot of them actually filed for divorce in Malaysia.
That's right. I've also pretty much heard from, lawyer friends of mine, and I thought it's really shocking that more than 50% of Malaysians are getting divorced. Because I think there are many factors, okay, during the pandemic, and now that we're entering the endemic period, right? There's a lot of things in relationship that we need to know about. And a lot of times it actually does circle around the topic of money. So
Yeah.
now I think today what we want to really discuss is we're going to share with you three key areas on how to build your relationship on a proper and stronger foundation so that we can actually, live up to the vows of till death do us part, right? And not the otherwise. Okay, so I think what is actually very interesting for you girls to know out there is that number one, I'd like to find out from you ladies out there, right? And think about this as I'm asking you this question. How many of you actually have spoken to your partner on things like, what do we want in this life together? Okay, what goals, financial goals that we love to, champion together? And what do we actually really mean by this? Is say, for example, when you're having a life together, we need to talk about things like, how many kids do we really want to have? Are we prepared now, in order to buy a house, for example? Can we actually have money to upgrade the car? So these are goals I'm talking about. And these goals will also be until the end of your journey in life, right? Retirement. Okay, after you finish working, you're retired. How do you want to spend your time together as a couple? What if, let's say, your goals are not aligned? This is where problems will start. I thought I wanted this, and you want something else. Things are definitely not going to work out. You know what I mean? So this is actually one of the very, very important areas, that couples need to talk about. What are our shared financial goals together? It is okay to have different goals and dreams, but as long as we know how to support one another in this relationship, we'll be able to get, to somewhere that we want to be, together in life. Don't you agree, Rachel?
Yeah, I really do. And as individuals, it's quite normal for you to have very different goals from your partner.
Precisely.
It is quite normal. But the fact of the matter, if you are choosing to enter into a marriage with your partner, you have to come to a middle point.
Yeah.
You can't drag your partner all the way to your end, and you cannot be dragged all the way to your partner's end.
Precisely.
You have to meet in the middle. So this is where that getting aligned on the same goals is very, very important. Because when you have direction, you will know where to go, in not just in terms of finance, but even in terms of other things like health, even spirituality, physical wise. Where do you actually want to go? Right. So all of this would be a much directional phase law. So now that Pauline has actually taught us all, that we need to look into our financial goals, the next thing that you would need to look into is actually get an understanding on where are you both standing currently financially. Yeah. Because many of us don't actually know where our partner is standing, or rather, do we even know where we are standing? That is a better question to ask. Like when I speak to some of my clients, actually, they don't know what is the problem that they are actually facing. They just know that, I have money this month, the next month there's going to be another paycheck coming in. But you have to also remember that, yes, as a single person, it's much easier to maneuver when you are not when you're even short of money. Yeah. But when you come together as a family,
it's totally different. Yeah. The music is very different. The responsibility is very different.
Yes, the responsibility is very different because now you have more commitments, and you cannot just at any point in time leave your responsibilities because it affects someone else.
That's right. And I think these are things that, sometimes as a couple, we don't think so much about it because we think that, hey, this is within my paycheck, right? So I don't need to worry my partner about it. This is while you are around, But what if, let's say, you're not? This becomes another person's burden in order, say, for example, if you've got debts. The other partner of yours most probably would be burdened because the banks will be contacting your partner as a next of kin, So this is where, if you don't actually have clarity in the relationship, eventually, within, the timeframes that you're together, there will be cracks. Okay, so we want to avoid these cracks because at the end of the day, it's about building stronger relationships, right? So that's lesson number one. And maybe another thing is, let me just share with you some statistics, okay? Do you know for couples who actually want great marriages and they actually talk about, these shared financial goals, right? The success of greater relationship and marriage is actually 94%. So think about it. This is really good, right? So that means you actually have clarity. The couple, both of them know what's really happening and they are actually building something really strong together because the direction is very clear. Now, you most probably want to know, right, Rachel, if the relationship is, okay lah, okay, then what is the statistic? It drops by half. So it's only about 40%, okay, where a relationship that is okay or in crisis is because they don't talk about things. So just imagine this, which choice, of relationship you want to have with your partner. So this is key number one, okay, that you want to think and talk about. All right.
Yeah, and these are all within your control because it's something you can do. Not wait until the very last point, where many marriages have come to the point of divorce, and then only they are like, I don't even know whether some of them do realize actually all these things could have been avoided if they started on earlier. It's tough conversations. It is tough conversations. Even sometimes when I have conversations like this with my own partner, it is tough. It's not easy because it's emotion. People tie in their money to their self-worth. I'm only earning this much. What will she think about me? I'm only earning that much. What will he think about me? So that is not how a relationship should be built on. You have accepted for who you are, right? Yeah. So it's better to find out how your partner looks at you today with the current income that you are providing, with the current way that you have managed your money, rather than get into a marriage and then find out that, hey, actually I'm not so happy with this, I'm not so happy with that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's better to clear out the closet today. And like what do you call this? Like when we go into the topic of being financial, are you financially faithful, to your spouse? This of course is more relatable to people who've already entered a marriage, but you can actually start when you're discerning for one, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are some of the examples of people who are financially unfaithful, Pauline?
Okay, so when you're talking about financially unfaithful, right? Basically, there's actually a few things that can potentially happen. So, for example, right, some of you females, and I know this from my clients also, they have this insecurity feeling, right, that whatever it is that they have may not be sufficient. So they have this habit, right, of stashing away cash. 50 ringgit here, the next few days, another 100 ringgit there. And, this becomes like their personal spending, okay, that their partners doesn't know about. Okay, that's the first example. Another one could be, for example, you've got a personal account that your partner doesn't know about. It's like totally out from his radar, for example. Or even a credit card, that, these are things that I want to spend on my luxury items. Okay, and you have a separate card just for your own, okay, which your partner doesn't know about. Or the bigger ticket item, right, would be you have a property somewhere that you don't want your partner to find out about. Okay, so these are some examples, right, that in a relationship, you are being financially unfaithful. Okay, and to be really honest, I have statistics for this. 1 out of 3 couples, okay, have this problem. Okay, so you want to be really transparent with this in your relationship, because whatever it is that happens in the family units, right, you have to be very clear how this will impact the other person. So if I were to play a game with you right now, let's have the tables turn. Okay, now your partner is being financially unfaithful, okay, having one of these secret accounts, right? How would you really feel? Rachel, how would you feel?
I would feel very cheated on, because
correct,
your responsibility is my responsibility.
That's right.
If happens to you, if you're no longer around, who is that responsibility going to fall back onto?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine this. If your partner leaves you with an asset, okay lah, you'll be happy and celebrate, and everything will be happy.
I will be angry at him for a while, but then after that, you'll be happy.
Correct. But if he leaves you with a big ton of debt, how would you feel?
Oh, I will feel very, very, and already I'm feeling the emotion of, being like left
cheated
alone.
on. Yeah. And then you kind of like feel that you're lost, and everything, right? So
yeah,
think about it. Okay. So everything always has the pro and cons. And this is the worst con that you can actually give another person. And this is a secret, right? You don't even know that it was going to come and hit you. When you thought that your financials, everything as a partner, in this relationship is actually well and fine, and you're hit very much with this sudden, debt. So it's not something nice to leave another person hanging, okay? Especially when you're no longer around. All right. So these are actually 3 areas I would say that you really need to be very clear on, so that without any of these 3, your relationship should be well and fine. And ladies and gentlemen, this is only some examples. There are many, many others that can actually trigger your relationships.
Yeah.
All right. But we're going to, because of time, we only have time to share with you 3 great tips and, areas to look into today. So do you want to quickly do a quick summary today, Rachel, of what we've learned?
I think, before we go into the summary part, we've mentioned these 3 areas, which are still quite huge areas to look into. So to help you all take up smaller chunks of it from today, here are 3 things that you would want to start practicing. Number 1 is have shared financial goals, right? So write it down, make a vision board together. I think that's a great idea, honestly.
Yep. I must agree. That's the best way actually to do it together.
Yeah, sit down together, take a board and discuss, okay, what is the type of house do you want to buy? Is it a double story, single story, subsale unit, new property? What is it?
Yeah.
Right. And go on. How many children do you want to have? Do you want to take care of how are you going to take care of your parents?
Yeah.
You know, and both parents.
What kind of retirement do we want?
What kind of retirement do we want? So it's all far-fetched. I know some of y'all may think that I cannot think so far ahead. So it's okay. Think as far as you can for now.
Yeah.
Maybe right now you can see a life of children, maybe having children.
Yeah.
So
It's always work in progress. You know,
Yeah.
this vision board that you have, right? It is not just one time you do and then we're done. It's a work in progress. Okay, as things happen in life, you see something that you really want, and you both want to champion it together, you add on to it. So the vision board is only just to guide you and to let you visualize where you want to go. Okay, so it's always work in progress.
Yeah, it's always work in progress. So after having those shared financial goals, the next one would be to have conversations on finances. Now, this is like what we mentioned earlier, some of the questions that you could want to find out from your partner. Yes, you can always do that. But what would be even more better, right, would be for you to speak to a financial planner, or even to get your insurance sorted with an insurance advisor. Like, go through it with a third party. Don't just do it by both of you, because all of us are experts at something. So when you go to the right expertise, you get better worth of your time. And a financial planner or even an insurance planner would be able to identify, okay, what if this scenario happens? What is this? They would help you, prompt you guys to ask certain questions that you may not think of.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing would be, it's going to be from a third party's point of view, right? So it's actually another input that understands clearly where you want to go and to help guide you towards that direction without having any biases. Because I think in a relationship, what is actually very important is that we normally have very fixed views, or sometimes in a relationship, we could have very diverse views, right? That we cannot come to a clear conclusion or a middle ground. How do we resolve it? So I think having another specialist or someone professional to help us through this particular journey, it would help you keep your focus without having to compromise your plan too much. I think that's the most important point here.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So after having that, is the last tip, of course, do not be I would say avoid
being financially unfaithful.
Yes, avoid being financially unfaithful. So be transparent. When you are transparent in your relationship, it starts with you. At the end of the day, if you expect your partner to be transparent with you, you first have to be transparent with your partner.
Yeah, that's right. I think it always starts with us being really think about, okay, how do you want to be treated? And that's exactly how we should behave so that we receive the same kind of treatment as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to give you a word of caution, these questions are very deep, and it's not for every people who are in a relationship. It depends which stage you are in. Yeah. So if you feel that you're already moving on to closely to the next stage of life, which is into marriage, then that is what you would want. This is some of the things you want to ask. Of course, if you're just getting to know the person, this is a bit too much to ask at this point in time. So you also have to look into when is the right time to ask these questions. Because sometimes your partner may be a bit more reserved at the beginning of the relationship, and later on you would see they actually do lighten up.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Always the right time and place.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think another beautiful thing is we are really excited about this project that we are really, really interested to launch. And I would say, Rachel, they'll be the first ones to find out about this project of ours, isn't it?
Yeah, this is our first time airing this project online. So we are having this project called Love 1000. So Pauline, do you want to share with us what this project is all about?
Okay, so I think what's going to happen is that for couples or married couples, okay, or couples to be in a marriage, okay, if you're listening in, do drop us a line, okay, if you find this podcast really useful for you, especially on the 3 tips that we've actually just shared, or the 3 areas we've just shared. And we love that you be one of our Love 1000 project, whereby come on board on Facebook in our Smart Women Finance community, right? And we will actually be sharing even more tips, okay, and some ideas for you, what questions to ask, what areas to look out for, so that you actually build stronger relationships in your journey in life. How does that sound?
Yeah, exactly. So we actually, this project Love 1000, we are planning to do some webinars on couples. I mean, for newlywed couples or even couples who are 1-2 years old in their marriage, to help them gain a better clarity as to how to work through their finances together. It's something that I don't think many people are addressing, and we are really happy to work on this project together. So for now, what we've so far set up is actually a Facebook group where you can actually, if you're interested, you can go on. The link is in the description below and sign on first into this Facebook group, because in this Facebook group is where we're going to actually be announcing all our events and some of our materials, some of our certain giveaways that we will be giving, sharing tips and all, like what Pauline just mentioned on this group. This group is it's a separate group from Smart Women Finance, but it's of course linked to it, and it's more targeted to newlywed couples. So if you have any friends who you know are getting married, please do show them this podcast, because you are doing them a great favor. Not many people talk about how should you manage finances. Many people talk about how do you plan a wedding, but not many people talk about how do you manage finances in your marriage. So
and keep in mind, right, marriage is actually not a sprint. It's a marathon, okay? You want to make sure that you get your foundations right, especially on finance, in order to make sure that the marathon lasts a long time, okay?
Yeah. So do share it around and help us in this Project Love 1000. We are aiming to touch 1,000 couples to actually help them learn how to manage finances together. So that our ultimate vision is actually to help family life be more rooted and stronger, to last longer. And one of these areas that we can help you with is in the area of finance.
Yeah, precisely. So love to see you guys there for our Project Love 1000. And we are going to sign off till we see you guys again the following week. Bye.